Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to all the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. This is not going to be a long one because I'm sure everybody's got things to do. It's the middle of the day. It's like 2 p.m. here in the UK. Shout out to the Afropolitan podcast in the building. She says, I am the first one here. It's always good to be first because I'm a fury in the building. Shout out to all of you guys. So as you can see from the title, we are talking about Jada Pinkett Smith and why I personally do not care about her balding head. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into point number one. I actually wrote notes, so you must know it is serious. Okay, so the first point I wanted to make is she is desperate to be a victim. Okay, Jada Pinkett Smith made sure she went on TV, or obviously YouTube is becoming the new TV, and she was showcasing her bald head. Okay, now I didn't know initially that it was because she had lost her hair or she's losing her hair through alopecia. Okay, I just assumed that she wanted to shave her hair because that's what something a lot of older black women seem to do. They just seem to get to a certain age where maybe it's too much for them. They can't be bothered, or, they want to change up their look entirely, and they just completely shave their head. And it's like, she made sure that she went onto her show and told everybody, I'm losing my hair. And it's like, why would you go on your show and tell everybody this if you didn't want sympathy? So, because what exactly does this prove? What exactly does this do by telling everybody, oh, by the way, I've got alopecia, I really need everybody to talk about it or look at me or something? So the fact that this is not a life-threatening condition, but she felt the need to publicly announce it, makes me feel a little bit like she's just looking for attention, and this is a way to deflect attention away from all the other stuff that most people normally talk about Jada Pinkett Smith for, i.e. all of her multiple entanglements and how she's still in love with like a dead man. Okay, so I put here that she wants to garner sympathy over a condition, and we wouldn't even know that she had alopecia had she not made it a public thing. So she wants everybody to know she's got alopecia, but she doesn't want people to comment on anything like how she chooses to handle this situation. It's like, why did she feel that we needed to know that she was losing all her hair? Like Abba said, the bitch is bald. It gets people to feel sorry for her even if she's acting like a jackass. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Black, with all due respect, modern women, but we're talking over here about specifically black women, it's almost like a trend where black women want sympathy for doing stupid things. And this is not something that's limited to black women. I remember once I was watching something, I think they were talking about an episode maybe of Judge Judy or something, where a woman thought it was funny to kind of push a man in a pool or something. And then afterwards he charged her. And then when it came to court, they were like, well, ma'am, you assaulted him. That's why you deserve, like, maybe he made a remark and she thought it was cool to hit him or push him in the pool or something. And then afterwards, when it kind of was played back and the story was told from both sides, it was like, ma'am, actually, you're in the wrong. It doesn't really matter what he said. At the end of the day, you didn't have the right to put your hands on him. And so women do certain crazy things, but then they always want to try and say, well, I did it because of this, I did it because of that, or we don't need to talk about that right now. Let's focus on this very pressing issue of how sick Jada is because she has this non-life-threatening alopecia. Okay, and so as George said, she wants a license to act stupid because we shouldn't talk about her in any negative way, because right now she's not very well with this non-life-threatening hair loss. So it was a bit crazy. It was a little bit annoying, because if she felt so conscientious about losing her hair, why even publicly announce it? So number two is kind of connected to number one. If she feels so anxious about not having, all her hair is falling out, why don't you just wear a wig or a weave? Now, someone said to me yesterday, this is so hypocritical. You have black men online every single day criticizing black women for wearing wigs and weaves, but now you're saying she should wear a wig or a weave. And I'm just like, disingenuous much. Because the thing about it is this. The reason why I don't care that Jada is going bald is because there are a lot of women out here who are not bald, but they choose to wear wigs and weaves. Okay? When I was in my wig wearing days, okay, and that's not to say I will never wear a wig or a weave again. If I feel like changing up my look, why not? But because I'm not, so against wigs or weaves that I'm just like, oh my God, this is a travesty against all black people. But there are some people who are vehemently against wigs or weaves. They feel like, why would you elevate another group of people's hair over your own, hair, and things like this. You're spending so much money sticking the hair that grew out of somebody else's head on your head. I mean, I did watch one crazy video where a woman shaved off her hair. She didn't necessarily have hair as long as the weave she installed, but she was by no means bald. And it's like, why would you literally cut off all your hair, almost shave it down to like a level 1, only to then stick other people's hair on your head? And you thought that the only thing more preposterous than what you just did was the fact that you thought it was a good idea to post this online for everyone to see how ridiculous of a person you actually are. So I was just like, and then black women get offended when people say, are you bald? Like, I remember going back to my wig wearing days, but this is a different story. Before I get to the story I was actually supposed to tell you, but then I digress. Anyway, don't judge me, okay? I remember I was in what we would call sixth form. Over here, it's like 16 to 18 after high school, because you have high school, then you have what we call college, then you have university. So I was at college, which is like 16 to 18. And in class, this guy asked me, why do you always wear wigs? And he was Asian. So for those women who think guys can't tell when you're wearing a wig or a weave, trust me, if black men, if an Asian guy can ask me, why do you always wear wigs? Best believe black men know when you're wearing a wig. And I'm going to touch on that in a minute. So it's like, haven't you got any hair? Like, he wanted to know, are you bald? And you want to see the look on his face when I reached at the back, the nape of the neck, and I pulled out one of my plaits, because it was like half cane road, half single, because it was a decent length, okay? And when I pulled out one of the plaits at the back and stretched it, and he saw, even plaited, how long my hair was, his mouth fell open. I said, don't assume just because you see black women wearing wigs and weaves, we're all bald out here. Now, once upon a time, I could have said that. Then the internet happened, and then all these like women with, patchy heads that looks like the Australian outback decided it was a good idea to kind of dispel the narrative that we're not all bald by showing their half patchy heads before and after the weave. And it's like, again, why did you feel the need to let everybody know your head looks like this and then you have a weave? Now, everybody who wears a weave, they're going to assume their head looks like yours. And when before I started playing with my hair, when I didn't know what I was doing, my hair was coming down to my chest. A lot of people are familiar with the content creator Shay Sade. Before I played with my hair and lost all my hair, I mean, I haven't lost all my hair, I'm not bald, but before, when it was at its longest, it was as long as her hair, if not longer. And I still wore wigs. Now, going back to the original wig story, because I got to digress 100 times. When I used to go and buy wigs, I used to lie and call them weaves. As a young person, I was so embarrassed to admit that as a young person, I wore wigs. When people used to ask me, is that a wig? I would say, no, it was a weave. I used to look for the wigs that had what looked like a closure, so that I could lie convincingly that this is not a wig, it's a weave. And like, trust me, before these girls knew what time it was, I was already taking the foundation and concealer and trying to color in that very white parting to make it look more skin colored and things like this, trying to snip it and clip it and glue it and cream it and you name it. I was doctoring those wigs like a mother. I would go and find these 5-pound wigs, wash them up, X display, oil them up, perfume, you name it. I was doing surgery on those 5-pound wigs and gluing them in or, sewing them on in a way that made them look like a weave. I was so embarrassed as a young person to wear a wig before it was real trendy, because the only people who bragged about having wigs were people who could afford the lace fronts with the real hair. And that was like £100 a wig plus. And so if you had a lace front, then everybody knew you was balling out of control. And everybody else was lying. No, I'm joking. Some people were lying. I know I was lying. I was like, I need synthetic hair that I can tong and do all the things natural hair can do. Or I'm just going to say this is a weave and I need the most convincing wig that looks like a weave. So the culture has changed now. If you tell black women, take the wigs and the weaves off, men say they prefer women to try and show their natural hair. Women will fight you tooth and nail. They will literally argue you down why black women need wigs and weaves. Funnily enough, the only person not debating to wear a wig or a weave is the person who actually needs one. Make it make sense to me. Okay. You have women with heads of hair that if they just took care of it, they could actually have the style that they are going and buying and gluing in. But then you have a person who's like, I'm losing all my hair. Let me not wear a wig or a weave, even though I feel conscious about being bald. I didn't know what to make of that situation. So I was just like, if you really felt anxious about going bald, Jada, why did you make a thing about it in the first place by letting everybody know you're going bald? And then if you really didn't want people to know, which you did because you publicly announced it, why didn't you just wear a wig or a weave? There are some crazy convincing wigs out here right now. If you just go on Instagram, the second gift that keeps on giving after World Star, you can find so many convincing wigs. And even if somebody asked her, I noticed you've changed your hair, she could have said, I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm suffering with bad alopecia. I don't feel confident to go out with my hair, falling out in places, or, I didn't want to shave it, or I've shaved it, but I still want to look nice. So I choose to wear a wig. She could have done it in a totally different way, but instead she parades her bald head everywhere and then she wants sympathy. And that I don't like. So if she felt so bad about it, she could have easily worn a wig, got her hair weaved. Shout out to everybody coming through in the chat. And, she didn't have to announce it. Shout out to Mr. Uganda. This is kind of a spin-off of a conversation he was having last night. It was really, it was very interesting. So I'll link it at the end. I'm at the corner of my desk. I rushed a call to get out here. Shout out. Don't lose your job. Don't lose your job. You can catch it on the replay. Shout out to Carrie T137. They said, I foresee Will and Chris making up and other people holding on to this situation more than they will. The same way people are about Will and Jada's marriage. But the thing about it is this, Jada's just doing too much all the time. Just all the time. Shout out to DJ Naf in the building. It's not a light thing what Jada has done, because the thing about it is this, as we digress, Will does not talk about his extramarital affairs. If we want to say they have an open marriage, that's between them. But the thing about it is this, Will is very discreet with it and he's very respectful with it. We don't know how many women Will is actually sleeping with. Now, I'm not that bothered, so I haven't done the details. Maybe the information is out there, but we hardly see Will with other women. But Jada has been seen with a few different men. And then the whole icing on the cake for me was with that whole, when it was Tupac's 50th birthday, she took to social media to get out her little box where she hides all his poetry. And when she's alone and feeling lonely, she whips it out and reads them. And again, kind of like the woman with the, Australian outback patchy head, who thought it was good to go on social media and film her balding head before and after the weave. Jada thought this was an opportune time to whip out the box of her dead lover and read things on the internet that he wrote her before he died, like 25 years prior. The whole thing is just preposterous. Okay, and these are the reasons why everyone's talking about protect Black women, which is going to be partly my third point. But where is the protection for people like Will, who actually has done a good job being a husband and a father to a woman who clearly doesn't respect him? Like, it's one thing to say we got to open marriage. It's another thing to use your extramarital affairs as fodder for your trashy online show. Okay, so it's not the same thing. I fell off my chair reading the title on my homepage. We got to come with a little heat. So I was laughing. I hope you will too. Shout out to Robbie Privilege in the building. George says he'll be right back. He's laughing too. Jada is still in love with Tupac. It's sad, but it's also true. The Duke says, Mr. Uganda, Jada doesn't need hair if she has Will Smith by the throat. Oh my gosh. And going back to this whole thing about her needing hair, with all due respect, she has the ability to get hair transplants. She has the ability to get treatment and help. I'm not unsympathetic wholly to Jada's plight, because a lot of women say that, a woman's hair is her glory. But we can't take this conversation serious, and I don't want to take it into my third point, because at the end of the day, a lot of Black women, they do fight to wear wigs and weaves, even when they have hair. And they rather wear the wig and the weave in order, maybe because it's easier. I understand, especially if your hair is weaved, you just wrap it and it's already done. As long as you maintain it and everything, it's kind of good to go. But, women are not fighting to show off their natural hair the way they are fighting to wear wigs and weaves. And then they say, well, it's corporate, but a lot of people don't work in corporate, but they still feel the need to wear the wigs and the weaves. Or they say we wear these wigs and weaves because, men like it, but the men are saying take them off. So how come it's like, which men? Like a handful of skanky rappers who like strippers or something? Is that what you're comparing yourself to? And again, this is no shade to anyone who wears wigs or weaves. I'm not against it. But what I am saying is this, and let's go into the third point. I feel that this thing about Jada and the alopecia, apart from it being a publicity stunt, she's probably going to become some type of ambassador or representative. I heard somebody saying that she's probably going to get some type of deal pertaining to what it's like to deal with alopecia. Here in the UK, we have a morning show called This Morning. I mean, the show title was so creative. I don't know how they came up with it, but okay, it's a show that comes on each morning called This Morning, and there was a segment on there by, they get the doctor in to talk about alopecia. Ta-da! So of course, I understand for women who have alopecia, it is distressing. Now, I don't equate somebody losing their hair with alopecia, especially, I don't know, maybe for Black women, because a lot of Black women don't always show their hair anyway. Some of them are giving themselves alopecia, fighting to wear these wigs and weaves, and things are literally braids and glue and overdoing the hair. It's actually ripping the hair out anyway. So some women have alopecia not because of a medical condition, but just because of the mistreatment of their own hair. But I was going to say, this is about curtailing free speech and men having the right to tell women what they prefer. And it may not seem like that, but the thing about it is this. Again, you have women who, when you say to them, take the wigs and the weaves off because we like your natural hair, locks, some men don't mind, some men don't mind if it's creamed or processed or relaxed, whichever way you like to call it. Some men don't mind, the hair if it's pressed out. Some men love the hair in its, curly, natural state. Just afro it out and, and they love it. Okay. And so when you hear men telling women take the wigs and the weaves off, you get a lot of resistance. And so what's going to happen now is these women are saying you should never criticize a woman who wears a wig or a weave because maybe she's got alopecia. There's a lot of men who also don't like their women's hair short. So when you see a woman with short hair or a bald head, oh, don't say anything. Maybe she's got alopecia. This is a way for Black women to now legitimize being able to say, whatever I want to do with my hair, you just have to like it, just in case I might have alopecia. It seems like a bit of a stretch, but really and truly, to me, that's what this is all about. Because I was talking to a colleague today, and when she saw the incident, because she hadn't seen it, she was like, yeah, Chris Rock was wrong because he shouldn't talk about a woman with an illness. And I was like, what are you saying? A lot of women do not even want to wear their own hair. So all this talk about we shouldn't talk about a woman's hair when half the women don't even have their own hair on their head. What are you saying? And then if you say to a woman, don't cut your hair off, they're like, I'm going to do what I want anyway. How many stories have we heard of women saying, I'm going to get my hair done, and after the man has explicitly stated, I don't like seeing you with short hair, she comes back with a shortcut? And so I feel like a lot of the times people are now going to run behind Jada and talk about, oh, Will was protecting his sick wife. And, I wasn't going to do this point, but let's just be real. This is about sending men on send-off missions, fighting for causes that are not really that important. Again, I'm not trying to be insensitive to people who are losing their hair. And I understand, for example, say you have treatment like chemo and it's causing your hair to drop out. Of course, that is not only a distressing time, but for those who are comparing alopecia to the effects of chemotherapy, that is a false equivalency. And, a little bit shame on you, because the thing about it is this: we understand that cancer is a life-threatening condition, and the unfortunate side effect after everything else you have to deal with such a disease is the fact not only are you internally feeling rotten, but your hair is falling out. No one is going to say to a person who needs a wig because they've had cancer treatment, you shouldn't wear a wig or a weave because men don't like wigs and weaves. So it's very I don't say unintelligent, but that wasn't the word, but it might fit. But it's disingenuous to compare somebody needing a wig because they're having treatment for cancer to somebody wearing a wig because they just want to wear a wig that day and they don't have anything wrong with them, or versus somebody who wears a wig because they have alopecia. I am sensitive to the fact that if a person has a condition like alopecia, they need to wear a wig, because not everybody wants to just go out with a bald head. Okay, I don't believe Chris Rock knew that she had alopecia. I mean, not everybody's that interested in Jada like that. Sorry to break the news to Jada, but not everybody knew. And this could have been a great opportunity for her to laugh it off and to show everybody that there is life after hair loss. She could have framed her face. She could have rubbed the head. She could have done all kind of things. Seeing as you wanted everybody to know that you have alopecia and you decided that with the little hair you had left, you were just going to shave it all completely off so it would be even. Why not maximize that opportunity rather than get offended after you were the one that put that private business out there? So we have to understand that sometimes these ladies, when they talk about protection, a lot of women are going to applaud what Will Smith did because it's a black man attacking another black man. But not only that, because they believe whatever a woman does, when she has a certain protected class status, which is what this is all about. She is protected now because anytime you say anything to her, you mustn't hurt her feelings, because you got to remember she's got alopecia and other women are going to use this as well. So with that being said, I'm just going to quickly run through these comments. Skittleman Reloaded said, hi, just be here for a little bit. Guys, smash the like button on this podcast. Like, Goodbye, sir. Thank you so much for coming through. And please hit the like and the subscribe. Bundles, wigs, weaves, and lace fronts. Robbie says hi to everybody. Freeze on Lou said salute. She's gorgeous without hair. Yeah, I do. I think she's fine without hair because she already had a very low cut anyway. So her completely shaving it all off, she doesn't really look that different to me. But it's like she wants the sympathy, in my opinion, for the alopecia. And it's like you cannot compare alopecia to somebody who's like got a terminal illness. I can't. You know, Celine says she wants sympathy. You know, Kazama said maybe she feels bad. Her head is shaped like Rogers from American Dad. You guys are a mess. Out. Jada is Jada. Will is struggling to rediscover his manhood since he divorced his faithful wife, Cherie Zampino. Yeah, I don't even know. Cherie still has her hair. Protection for Will. Lol, yeah, this is too much for me. See you later, Carrie. Carrie says this is too much for me. And I stick by what I said, because at the end of the day, Jada is supposed to be Will's backup. And okay, because I wasn't going to go here, but we have to talk about this. At the end of the day, 6 years ago, Jada made a big point about how the Oscars was too whitewashed. And now you had, I think someone said like the whole thing was run by black people. You have a Chris Rock who's been there before anyway, so it's not the first time presenting or hosting or, you know, emceeing the situation. Her husband is getting an award, even though she was offended by the joke. For her to make that scene when her husband is about to receive an award, like I was so mortified when I went into the newsagents, or some people maybe call it like the bodega or something, and you have all the newspapers lined out on the display, and nearly every single one of them has got the infamous slap on the front. Like everybody is talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. You have people who are like, this is the first year the Oscars have this category, I've won. Like the whole event was completely upstaged by a man who decided, I am going to run and jump on this grenade because my wife pulled a face. Like she is a puppet master in this situation. And Will, in his desperation to just keep Jada at all costs, even if he has to share her, even if he has to tolerate this disrespect, he actually looked over at her face, and when he saw how upset she was at the joke, he absolutely ruined his career. Now, I was going to do a separate video, but seeing as Carrie's kind of brought it here, we are here, okay? I'll save it for the next video. I will save it for the next video. But this is sad. This is a sad situation. I really feel embarrassed and sad for Chris Rock. I don't believe he deserved that slap. I know he can be contentious. I know he can push the envelope, and Jada maybe feels sensitive, but Will handled it terribly. He handled it terribly. He's kind of obliterated his reputation. And although Jada was smiling and happy at the end, you know, she has brought him down to a level that he didn't need to go. And obviously it's his fault because he chose to stay with a woman who's whittling him down into a shell of a man. You know, he was tired of being ridiculed, and so he took it out on the one person he knew he could get away with it with. Even if it's staged, it's still humiliating, it's still embarrassing, it's still sad, because this goofy stunt has overshone everybody else's night. Like it's just put a big blemish on the night. And that's why I feel like Will Smith was crying, because he realized he has humiliated himself, and he did it over something and gone somewhere where it just didn't need to go. So yes, protection for Will, because at the end of the day, these are the kind of men women say they want. You can't say he's a cheater because they claim they have an open marriage. He's not abusing her. He's not controlling her. Whatever she does, he's supportive. He's clearly pedestalizing her, and we have to keep it a buck. If it wasn't for Will, Jada wouldn't be relevant. The only reason why people are still talking about her Jada is because Will is still alive, kicking and active. And this is one of the reasons why I feel Jada doesn't leave Will, because she doesn't have what it takes to really stay relevant without him. And, you know, maybe she's got red table talks. It could spin by itself. Let's see. But the reality is this, you know, what is she going to present anytime soon? Who knows? If she was going to get something, I'm pretty sure she would have got it by now. I mean, you know, Big Brother, celebrity is always hiring, and get me out of here, I'm a celebrity. But apart from that, you know, what is she really going to do? And so she resents Will Smith because he is still active. He's in Aladdin, he's in the theater, he still can get movie roles, he will always get work. And, you know, he's loved by people internationally around the world. So, you know, it just is what it is. This is the kind of man Black women say they want. Jada has him, and instead of, you know, putting him on a pedestal and reading his poetry, you know, that he may have written to her, she gets out her shoebox from under the bed to, you know, do an ode to a man that's been dead for 25 years. Like, the complete disrespect and ingratitude is ridiculous. And yet you have women saying, I really thank Will for what he did because he protected his wife, even though you never see Jada come into the defense of Will. I mean, if anyone has heard what Jada had to say about the incident, I would be really interested to know, because everyone seems to have an opinion on it except for the woman who was defended by Will. So yes, if Jada cared about protecting Will, when it looked like he was going to get out of his seat, she should have grabbed him and said, honey, what are you going to do? Or she should have just laughed it off. If Will has got a volatile temper, you know, there's some people that say he slapped a reporter. It wasn't even a tap. I think it was a shove or something. If he has a temper, she, as his wife of so many years, should have preempted that and said, honey, I'm going to laugh this off because I don't want you to kick off. But I'm going to save the next point for the next video when I make it, which will be God knows when. So Kazama Fury said, look at John Travolta's hairpiece. They look good. She's definitely playing victim for attention. I mean, look at Donald Trump's hairpiece. I'm joking. We don't know. Was that ever alive and running in a field somewhere? And then they caught it, gutted it, and just threw it onto his head? Because that thing looks like it's about to run away most days. But I mean, I digress. So Samantha P says she doesn't even seem like she has any large bald spots. I see like head shaved short, but I also see a reasonable amount of coverage. And it's funny you say that, because I was thinking that as well. From what I can see, it's not like she has huge portions of hair missing, but she may still feel some type of way about it, and that's up to her, you know. Shout out to the wacky world of the lace front lovers are lying when they use working in corporate as an excuse to wearing weaves, because there are plenty of corporation that hire sisters who wear their natural hair. It's true. And the other thing we need to remember is this, that just because your hair is natural doesn't mean to say it has to be untidy. There are so many gorgeous natural hairstyles, and with the right products, you can slick it down, you can get a ponytail, you can even gel down the edges. It just needs a bit of time and patience, you know, gelling it up and then wrapping it and keeping it so that it stays. But even 4C hair can be tamed if you have the right products. So again, even if we say, oh, corporate requires you to look a certain way, let's go with that argument. What's the excuse for all the women who don't work in corporate, but they still need wigs and weaves? Need in inverted quotation marks. Exactly. The abuse of their own hair can lead to alopecia. So this whole thing about we need to feel sorry for alopecia sufferers, where some women are actually giving themselves alopecia, is a little bit crazy. Shout out to Freedman's Journal in the building. Dimitri, salute. Mr. O, shout out to you. I would love to see Black women get bald heads as markers for avoidance. Sorry, they're not going to do that. Shout out to George, he's busy. Alopecia still has her eyebrows. Oh my God, bye. When I saw people reaching on likening alopecia to So I fell over. And it's not even a funny thing to say because it's so disrespectful to people who actually are, having chemo treatment and have lost their hair. And they are out here trying to pick wigs so that they can get on with a normal life. They don't necessarily want people to feel sorry for them because they're losing their hair and it's very obvious they're going through treatment. So why are you making this public statement and declaration that you're losing your hair? We had a talk show over here. It's kind of not as volatile as Jerry Springer, but it was kind of closer to a Ricky Lake. And this black woman known as Trisha Goddard, she had cancer. And she was like, why do I choose to wear wigs? Because my hair is falling out because I'm having cancer treatment. She didn't make a big scene about it. She just said, look, I don't want to rock a bald head or my hair is, in patches. I would rather just wear something so I can still feel good about myself. And she done that and everybody just moved on. Why can't Jada? So I'm really sorry. This is why I don't feel sorry for Jada's balding head, and you shouldn't either. Shout out to Kazama. He said, some sisters are still trying to legitimize twerking for Ukraine. There will be a pop-up strip club somewhere coming to a town near you. This is an excuse for bad behavior. This notion of black men fighting for words is dangerous. Will displayed toxic masculinity. This type of thing is the reason why we have issues in the black community over words. And to be honest with you, I don't agree with toxic masculinity. I just think toxic behavior is toxic behavior. But at the end of the day, yeah, he's been emasculated and he's allowed it to go on for so long, it's going to erupt somewhere. So I definitely agree that he should have handled words with words. And if he really needed to slap Chris Rock, he should have done it like 6 years ago when he was taking the mick out of Jada for boycotting the Oscars, or he should have done it after when no one was really looking. But to run up on the stage like that, it was in such bad taste, and I feel sorry for everybody involved. Jada broke the rules. She punked him on live TV. I agree. And it's not once, it's continually. Okay. So thank you so much for dropping the links. Mr. Uganda says, everyone in the UK knows about it. It has been the talk of work for 2 days now. I couldn't believe we have a free paper here in London. They call the Evening Standard. And I nearly tripped when I went to pick one up on my way, to do my evening rounds. And who did I see on the front of the damn paper? It wasn't even Putin. Putin was pushed down to the bottom, and all we see is Will giving Chris Rock a slap. I was so disappointed for everybody involved. Freedman's Journal said, everyone is talking about it. Foreigners use Will Smith as an ideal Western black man. Now this. I have to live this down when visiting Japan. What are you doing in Japan? Come out of there. Apparently, Chris' jokes were written by staff, not himself. And I think that this is what people are saying. Like, these jokes are not even really written for them. They're written by other people. And so why is, and it's even rehearsed, apparently. So why is Jada getting so upset when she kind of probably knew what was coming anyway? Mr. Uganda said, and apparently those who sit in the front row are given a freebie gift so that they know jokes are coming their way. Exactly. So it's crazy how shout out to Kim in the building. I wish I had a sound effect. Shout out to Kim. Salute. She said, you are mean. Yes, and I relish my meanness, yo. I was just like, I was chuckling down the street as I was thinking about this title. I said, oh my God, am I going to be cancelled? Are they going to kill me? Are they going to crucify me? Let's just see what happens. And apparently those who sit in the front row are given freebies. They know what's coming. If you sit at the front row, you are going to be the butt of the joke because you're getting an award or you're with somebody who's getting an award. So it is what it is, yo. It is what it is. William Shatner just took a tribble from the set of Star Trek. I heard, talking about taking stuff, I hear that all the awards disappeared. You see, this was one big heist, people. Chris Rock and Will Smith actually planned to create a huge distraction. And while everyone was talking about the slap, Jada and her kids probably ran in and stole the Oscars. I mean, let's be real. Maybe that's the only time she'll get her hands on one. Oh my gosh. She said, I'm mean. I'm more than mean. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Where is her statement defending her man? Thank you. We need it. We want it. We need it. I don't know. I was trying to think of a profound statement, but all I could say is we need it. Jada has Will on a puppet string, like a puppet on a string. When you see that song, just think of Will. No, don't think of Will. He is a victim. I feel sorry for him. He's a victim of his own bad decisions, i.e. staying with Jada. Jada is too busy sitting pretty. And people are out here saying, he must have got a good reward that night. But was it worth it, Will? Anyway, we're going to talk about that in the next video when I get there. If I get there. Commitment lacking much. Anyway, while her hair isn't shaved, Lupita looks cute with short hair. She does. Shout out to Freedman's Journal for blessing the stream. I really appreciate you. Once I searched natural hairstyles for Black women, I knew we need it for corporate was BS. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. A lot of the times women try to use this whole we need it for corporate. And I do believe that there was a time when that was true, but I don't think it's as true now as it was back then. Shout out to Friedman for that 5 on the super chat. If I can take it off the screen. I'll be struggle streaming. So we got to give him his recognition. If I can find it. Don't do me like this. Don't do me like this, struggle Wi-Fi, please. Okie dokie. Where are we now? So, yeah. It's not like once upon a time where, Black women were already under a lot of pressure. And so they felt the need to kind of conform as much as possible. Times are changing. And so this whole idea that you have to have weaves and wigs. And again, if you had your own hair that was straightened, a lot of men would like it. But the women are in competition with non-Black women. And they use the whole, I need to put wigs and weaves in my hair because of corporate. They use that as an excuse. Okay. Who knew being associated with G.I. Jane was an insult? The character was a badass. In the age of feminism, she should have relished the prospect of getting a role. Anyway, we all get jokes made about us, whether it's your financial status, your weight, your physical features, or anything. Just get over it. And again, I understand it's a very sensitive topic, but she basically gave him a look. I don't even want to say, because we don't know the dynamics of their relationship, but I do feel like once he looked over and saw how displeased she was, he felt like it was necessary to jump into action. And she should have just laughed it off, because this was not her night. This is his night, and she shouldn't have, I don't know, because we cannot take away from the fact that he shouldn't have done what he did. Leaping out of his seat was bad enough. Hitting another man on international TV was terrible over a joke. And so I do feel like we cannot take away from what Will did, but definitely because she is clearly in the driving seat, when she says or does certain things, she knows how Will is going to react. And she should have just played it down and said, you know what, ha ha ha, funny, Chris, and left it at that. So we all get jokes made about us, and it's not pleasant at the time, but this was the wrong time or place for her to respond. Shout out to Bronzebird in the building. Samantha P says, for real, no one is safe. It doesn't matter what you've got going on, somebody's gonna rip into you. Freeman's Journal says, facts, it's all to compete with each other. Men don't care, and the corporate angle is cap. Definitely. And the thing is this, Black men are saying, we want you to wear your natural hair, but natural doesn't mean unkempt. There's ways to wear natural hair that is very attractive. Or even if you do want to tuck on a ponytail, why not tuck on an afro rather than going and buying European or straightened hair. Shout out to Naturally Fashionable Kim, also from the Wifey for Lifey channel. We've got to give her recognition. If I can find it, who is going to be the sponsor of today's show? We shall see at the end. Dance, I said, dance. Was it just me? With my struggle wiggle, the struggle wiggle. I don't want to throw the hip out. She says, you're hilarious. I love you. Yeah, on my good day, I'm all right. Don't catch me on a bad day. I could be dangerous. But apart from that, I'm okay. So I appreciate the love. I receive it. So please, moderators, if you can, drop her link to the channel. Shout out to Vincent in the building. And Manu12. Long time no see. What's it called? The Duke said Jada is mad quiet. She's never been this mute. And it's embarrassing that everybody is saying it's great what Will did protecting his wife, and yet where is her coming to his defense and saying, I really appreciate what my husband did? But that's another thing for another day. George says, good point, Auntie. They think men are supposed to protect and they don't even have to say thank you. Where is the thank you? DJ Nass says, it's just laziness. In the story of Will Smith, Will Smith played himself. That was a good one. Duke said, that's cute. Yeah, my little pug chihuahua thingy, he's cute. He said, check my IG. Let's see. Oh my God, I'm about to knock myself out of my own stream. I cannot with DJ Nav. He sent me some animation, which I can't share right now because I'm on the phone. But this is not the apology I was looking for. Samantha P says, it doesn't have to be long to be feminine, just full. Full hair is a symbol of youth, fertility, and long-term vitamin intake. I would honestly take off half a foot or better to have fullness like that. Yeah. That's true. I mean, and it just, a lot of men, they don't have long hair. So they love seeing the long hair because they like to play in it and smell it. And, our bodies are meant to complement each other. So men have certain things we don't have, so we can find their bodies interesting and vice versa. Most men don't want long hair. So when they see women with hair, they get intrigued by it. It's part of our beauty. But again, you have women saying you mustn't talk about a woman's hair, but a significant portion of Black women don't really fight to wear their own hair. So what hair are you really talking about? Exactly, Samantha. Men like healthy hair, period. Someone will like it. I would have shared it, but that clip is hilarious. Don't worry, I will get round to it. But I guess not. The men they like. She said, but not the men they like. It doesn't matter what the men like. It's our hair. Don't comment on our hair. And so, with all due respect, this is what I think. It's all about curtailing free speech. It's about telling men what they can and can't talk about. And this situation is going to be used to legitimize how Black men don't have the right to comment on a woman's hair, especially because you don't know if she has alopecia. So with that being said, I can't really give a sponsor song to either person because there were two super chats and they were the same. So for everybody who contributed to the stream today, I'm gonna give everybody the same. Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a sticker. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flicker. So with that being said, I really appreciate everybody who came through. If you are catching this on the replay, please give it a big thumbs up. Share this video with somebody who needs to see it. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't hit the subscribe button, set those notifications to all, and of course let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.